Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flannel Channel. I'm Philip, glad you're here. This is Curtis Lowe. It's my 79 F-150 and it's body swapped onto a Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. I wanted to build a wood floor in this thing. That's why the wheel tubs are up the direction that they are, and I'm actually using antique wood that I sourced from another project. So I ended up only spending 48 bucks on this entire project. It was fun to do. I've never done anything like this before. I'll show you how I did it. Stick around, here we go. I'm at the home improvement store. It's blue, it's not my favorite, but it's convenient. It's in my hometown. And so what I have is the supplies that I'm gonna need in order to attach the flooring in the bed of the truck. So some green treat I thought would be just perfect because it's gonna stand up to the elements and not get all rotten. So anyway, I need to figure out how to attach this in the bed of my truck without it actually having a floor. So got some tie downs and gotta get a little creative, but hey, it's what we do, right? Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I gave it the mandatory smack of the strap saying that's not going anywhere. So definitely no problems. So grabbed a few other things while I was inside for, like, you know, paint and specialty screws. When you're dealing with pressure treated wood, you have to be able to use a screw that isn't gonna break down and corrode right away. So anyway, got that handled. We should be good to go. I'm gonna swing by the coffee shop and grab my wife a cup of coffee, because you know, 25 years together teaches you that mama likes things like that. And yeah, so I'm excited. Get out to the shop and get building on that thing. It's gonna be awesome. Let's go. All right, so with my new piece all welded in, I did a little bit more painting this morning and it's had a little bit of time to dry. I'm now gonna cut my lumber at 81 inches front to back and then lay my 4 new 2x4s in place. Got my hardware right here. I'll be drilling the holes, you know, where they belong. And the whole idea is that I wanna be able to service this thing if need be, remove the wood at any time, stuff like that. So it's semi-permanent, but not totally. And I know that I'm probably gonna have to move this module here underneath because my 2x4s, if I planned all this right, they should lay directly down on top of that subframe of the Crown Vic. So that's my hope. If I have to shim something up a little bit, you know, that's fine, but you gotta have a plan. That's my plan, and sometimes things change along the way, but let's cut some 2x4s. And you can see with the 2x4 stretched across here, there is just a little bit of space in between the bottoms of the 2x4 and the frame. That's awesome. I actually like that, so that way I can block it up with some other lumber and build it up from below so that my 2x4s don't start to sag. And so it's not interfering or hitting anything down below underneath. That is still the perfect height. I love it. And yeah, using some of these holes, I should be able to put maybe a couple blocks underneath there, shim it up, and really make it sturdy. So yeah, mission accomplished. I don't know, this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what I'm thinking. Now, none of these are attached yet. I have not decided what spacing I'm going to use, but this is going to be the basis for which the antique wood is going to sit on top. I wanted to give it a nice firm structure. Obviously, I'm going to be trimming off the 2 areas there to make room for the fenders when I get those. Say I'm going to do something with my filler neck. I'll bring it up through and probably bend the neck area so that it's straight up and down, and I can just put my gas nozzle straight down into the bed. So yeah, you got to start with a plan somewhere and modify things as you go and test fit and try. But yeah, that's what I'm going with. These are just pickets that you would normally make a fence out of. So if you're wondering, they're cheap. That's why I bought them. So now with my 2 center pieces trimmed up, I have blocked and screwed in some of my underlying stuff to be able to give it that support we were talking about. And for spacing, I just used one of my blocks here and just test fit it and made sure that that same block will fit in every one of the spacings. And so if it looks like a pallet, that's basically all I'm creating is a really rough green treat pallet. But yeah, trying to make it strong enough that the bed won't bounce like this as we're going down the road. So yeah, good enough for me. All right, so I just got back from the other shop. I cut these fenders out of the old box, and you can kind of get an idea of what I'd like to do. And I'm going to add about 4 inches of sheet metal, and that'll cover up that gap in between there because we're setting them further out than they used to be, and that way we'll have plenty of tire clearance in there. You can tell we're plenty far away, but I'm actually going to tuck them underneath these supports, and this lip here will sit underneath the lip of the box, not really level with it like you're seeing across there. So that's still sitting too high up. It'll sit down underneath there. So yeah, I'm excited though. It's going to be fun to reuse the originals, but we're going to modify them a little bit. And yeah, well, forgive me if the video makes a bunch of noise. It is a breezy afternoon here. So anyway, this is the antique wood off the 50s flatbed. These are the sideboards from it. And so I need to decide now how much I need to take off and remove in order to be able to use these slats. These slats are what we're actually going to be using for the floor of the bed. And I love the red. I'll flip them over for you so you can see what the other side looks like as well. There's fewer grooves in it, so they're this wide, but they don't have that extra line down the center of them on the reverse side of it. So yeah, I'll show you. Still has that barn red, almost kind of a picnic table type of look to it, but it's just awesome. And it's exactly what I was hoping to find. So once I get the end pieces taken off, and I don't know if I'm gonna have to grind off some of the bolts. I really truly don't know, but I want it to still have this awesome look to it. I'm gonna seal it up with like a matte finish sealer so that it doesn't continue to deteriorate, and hopefully block out some of the rot. But this moss, the red paint, the peel, all that stuff I just love. And I think I want this side up so that it has more of the grooves and the lines. To me, this looks too much like a picnic table, being that wide, 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever that is. But I like the smaller grooves in it. So this will probably still show up, you know, even if I take them off, you're gonna be able to tell where they were, but I really don't care. It's gonna be awesome. So I just need to disassemble a little bit, play with it, and figure out my plan. All right, so after getting my bolt heads cut off and punched down through, just getting the last one up, and you can tell this old hardware is so rotten. I mean, would it be cool to use something like that because it's so rusty and original? Yeah, but it's really, really weak. So they're just getting junked, and we'll put something stronger together. All right, so it's time consuming, but you can kind of see what I'm doing to open up the 5 pieces that I have here. And so just cut the heads off, peel the rotten 2x4s up, and then I'm gonna work on sealing up these pieces. I might, you know, run a gentle brush over this area just to get a little bit of the dirt out of it, but not too much. What I've been trying to decide is if I'm going to leave all these pieces together or if I'm going to separate them so that the lines and the holes are staggered, almost the same way you would do in like flooring or something like that, so that you don't have weak spots and things like that together. But one of the things that I think is actually really cool about these sideboards is that they've been together for, you know, 75 years, something like that. So I think I'm gonna leave them together. They're tongue and groove. You know, there's certain pieces like this that are already loose, and we'll use that like in front of or behind the wheel wells. So there's gonna be some parts that are staggered anyway, but for the purposes of right now anyway, I think I'm gonna leave them together because they've been together and joined that whole time. All right, here is what I'm putting on to seal up my surface. A couple reasons. One, I want this stuff to be able to stay as waterproof as I can. I 100% can guarantee that this is lead paint. That's part of why I'm working on it outside. I've been wearing a mask if I need to. My kids have not been around it, and I just want to seal that off. This is oil-based stuff, and it's stuff I already owned, and so those are a few reasons why I'm using it. I have automotive clear, but I don't want a super glossy finish. This is satin finish. Supposed to be perfectly clear. I can see inside. It's kind of a yellowish color, but I'm gonna do a test stripe over here on one of these pieces that's kind of small, make sure I like it. And yeah, so just using a quick roller and put it on. I'm gonna do top side and bottom because I want to try and preserve this stuff. Cool. We can't get any closer up there, but that's a good fit front to back. So I'm still trying to decide how I'm going to actually attach the antique wood down to the green treat. If I'm going to use screws or if I'm going to somehow make it, you know, removable even easier. But now that I can kind of move them and separate them and stuff like that as a group, that'll help. So yeah, big moment. I like it. Well, last night I worked a little bit on extending out my filler neck, just using some heater hose here and some old radiator hose. I think that's gonna work just fine. You might be wondering, dude, don't you wanna use the filler door that was stock? I maybe could, but it actually sits lower than the fill port for the Crown Vic. So I'm gonna come through the floor of the box. I've seen lots of other guys do that and it doesn't kink. So I think that's my plan of action. Well, I'm on, I don't know, day number 4 or 5 of working on building the wood box, but hey, it's just a little bit every day. Let me show you something really cool that I'm gonna be using. This is a saw that my grandpa gave me, and this wasn't him, this wasn't his company. I think he bought this at an auction or garage sale or something like that. But I just love old tools. I always have, and things like vintage ads, and it's just a beautiful piece of history that still works. I have used this before, and so I thought, you know what more fitting way to work on vintage wood on my vintage pickup than use vintage tools that I got from my grandpa. So Grandpa Hansen, this is for you. Thank you for this gift that reminds me of you, and I can use it to build things that hopefully people will remember me from building projects like this. All right, just thought that was neat. All right, just filling in puzzle pieces. Not everything's gonna look perfect, but it's because it's old wood. It's fine. All right, gonna keep working on these now. I decided to make a cardboard template that'll kind of help me decide where to make my cuts in the next piece. So yeah, little by little, getting there. Running out of daylight though. And I put just a little bit of a chamfer around that radius, just because we're dealing with a curved surface around that fender. So trial and error. Try it a little bit, trim a little more. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Looks good. All right, so time to use the hole saw and drill a hole big enough for my filler neck to go through. There we go. Perfect. Ever since I was a kid, I have wanted a pickup truck that has a filler neck in the box, because looking at all those magazines and, you know, sport truck stuff, I just always thought that was cool, and now I finally built one. Yeah. Now, I'm having to do a little bit of wire brush and scraper work, even though I didn't want to have to do this. What I found is by trying to seal over the top of the moss that I really like the color of, it's not taking that polyurethane like I had hoped. And on nights that it has rained around here and things like that, this stuff is definitely not protected like I want it to be. So in order to try and match these ones that don't have the moss, I'm scraping a little bit of that moss off so that my polyurethane can actually soak in and protect that wood. So it's not affecting the paint or anything like that, but it's just taking off that yellow flakiness. And so yeah, it's a bummer. I wanted to keep it, but learning as I go that I have to get rid of it. So oh well. Yeah, decided to go with a wood sidewall. I like it. One of the final steps is I'm going to use this angle iron that came with the box size from that old truck that used to haul grain, and I just added some additional holes in it, and what that's going to do is just kind of strengthen up my floor and tie it in with the sides. I like that they've all been together this long and they're going to stay together. So sink a few screws, and then I'm going to put my sealer down for a second coat, and I think we're about done. I'm probably going to seal up my wheel wells too, because I want to keep that rusty patina there. It's awesome. I like it. So there you have it. This was a project that was really fun to do, and as the entire build is winding down, there's still plenty of other things that I plan to do on this truck, like air conditioning, cruise control, and stuff like that isn't working just yet. I'm gonna focus on the interior a little bit more, but I'm driving this thing daily. I wanted to be able to set, luggage or cooler or, camping chairs if we're going to a show or something like that. Back here, I still have some depth. I can be able to put down a ratchet strap or something like that and just hook into some things. Still use it a little bit as a pickup, but it's not, super, super strong. I'll consider it a gentleman's pickup. I've heard that term before. And there's different ways that I could have done this. I could have sunk it way down low, brought it up for the hump in the center over the suspension, and brought it back down again. So yeah, there's a lot of wasted space underneath there. There's different ways people have done it also, where you could, lift it up and have a trap door. You could have a storage box down inside there that's weatherproof. I think that'd be really cool too. So I had some ideas. Some of my plans changed along the way, and that's totally fine. But because it was materials that I already owned from a different project, it was fun to be able to combine the stories of 2 or 3 different trucks into this one, and stayed on budget, kept it under 50 bucks. I'm not experienced in this kind of thing. I'm not a woodworking guy, and so I was kind of just figuring it out as I went, using tools I already owned and some material I already owned, and yeah. So anyway, hope you dig it. I want to also mention too that if you want to follow along other parts of this build on this truck, check out the playlist. It's called Curtis Lowe, and my sons and I did this entire thing in 9 months, all on our own, never having done this before. So check that out. Also, I wanted to mention, if you're interested in Curtis Lowe merch, we have this stuff. I think they're pretty awesome. They're on GoShineOn.com. That's the website. And if you're interested in this particular color, we have a limited supply of these in this color that kind of match the wheels of this thing. And you can DM me on Instagram. Go and follow me over there anyway. It's @flannel_Phillip. And we can chit chat there if you want to. Thanks for coming along. I appreciate each one of you supporting the channel. And I'll see you next week. Peace and grease.